Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to Sir Azmi and my fellow classmates. I'm Miza Fahana Abdul Razak, will be the first presenter for our group case study presentation. Since we will be doing a study regarding racism and co-curricular activity, thus the title for our group case study is a study on the effects of co-curricular implementation on racism in the community based on Faculty of Education students from UiTM Puncak Alam. Before we start presenting about the finding for the case study, we will talk about the research objective, research questions, and research problems. So our case study have two research objectives. The first one is to investigate the degree of involvement of the participants in co-curricular activities, and the second one is to identify the factors that leads to racism in the students during co-curricular activities. We also have two research questions. The first one is, what is the degree of participation in co-curricular activities among participants? And the second one is, what are the effects of the participant involvement in co-curricular activities on racism element? Next is the research problem. From our topic, a study on the effects of co-curricular implementation on racism in the community based on Faculty of Education students from UiTM Puncak Alam, we found two research problems that we would like to highlight in our case study. The first one is issues in providing equal treatment among races in school core curriculum. We found that some races may not get equally treated as others in the core curriculum activity. The second research problem is difficulties faced by students according to their races in core curriculum activity. There are some core curriculum activities that are dominated by certain races, thus this somehow affects some other races to join that particular activity. Our questionnaire is divided into four parts. Part A, the demographic section. Part B, the understanding of racism and co-curricular activities. Part C, the reason for racism. And Part D, effects of co-curricular activities on racism. Now, I will pass the floor to my group members. They will each present the finding for each part respectively.
Thank you, Miza. Hello, everyone. My name is Afifa, and now I'll be presenting the first part of our findings, which is the demographic section. The first question that were asked in our questionnaire is the gender of our respondents. As what you can see on the screen, 78.1% or 25 of the respondents is female and the rest is male, which is 21.9%. To be exact, 7 respondents, which can be concluded that our questionnaire were majority answered by female. The second question that were asked were the age of our respondent. As what is shown by the statistics, majority of our respondents were 22 to 23 years old. There are 9 respondents who are 20 to 21 years old, while we have 1 respondent that is 24 to 25 years old. There is no respondent that answered our questionnaire that age from 26 to 27. We also asked the respondents regarding their race. The majority of our respondents is Melayu, which is 23 people. Second higher is Anak Negeri Sabah, which is 8 people, and Anak Negeri Sawah is only 1%. Next, we asked about the program that our respondents enrolled in. Majority of our respondents are from TESOL program, which is 21 respondents. Second higher is responding from Physical and Health Education program, which is 6%. 2 of the respondents are from Art and Design Education program, another 2 respondents from Mathematics Education program, and 1 respondent from Science Education program. The next question that were asked is regarding in what semester our respondents are in. There are 25% of our respondents are in Part 5. Part 6 students are the majority, which brings 62.5% of the statistics. 3 respondents from Part 7 and 1 respondent from Part 8. The last question in Part A is the respondent were asked whether they attended multiracial high school or not. Out of 32 respondents, 26 respondents answered yes, while 6 respondents answered no. Since we are conducting a study on racism, it is important to ask this question because we need to listen to opinion from those who have been in a multiracial community. So, out of 32 respondents, we only accept 26 respondents who has been to multiracial high school to proceed with our questionnaire. That's all from me. Now, I'll pass the floor to the next presenter.
Thank you, Afifa. Hello, everyone. It's Emelina, and I'll share findings on Part B of our survey, which is the respondents' understanding of racism and co-curricular activities. Note that we have 32 responses from the students of Education Faculty UiTM Puncak Alam. However, we accepted 26 responses and rejected 6 responses because one of our requirements is that the respondents attended multiracial high schools. So those 6 didn't, and thus we rejected them. Without further ado, let us see the findings of Part B. The first question of Part B is, are you aware of racism happening at your school during co-curricular activities? And out of the 26 accepted responses, 15 said yes, that they are aware of racism happening at their schools during co-curricular activities, and 11 said no. Because more respondents answered yes than no, we can assume that students from Education Faculty UiTM Puncak Alam are aware of racism happening in their schools during co-curricular activities, and surely they have their insights about this matter. So we can rely on their answers in the survey. The second question of this section is, I have experience participating in co-curricular activities when I was in school, and as expected, all 26 respondents answered yes. This is because co-curricular activities are compulsory for the students in Malaysian schools, as it is a part of the supplementary activities of teaching and learning process based on the Malaysia Education Blueprint. Therefore, the findings for this question is as expected. The third question is, did your school have a diversity of student body? It means the student body or the high committee members vary in accordance to races and religions. For instance, 25 of the respondents answered yes, which is a good findings, showing that the student body consists of students with a variety of backgrounds. Only one respondent answered no, assuming that his or her school student body is probably dominated by one race. Nonetheless, majority of the respondents' schools have a variety of high committee members, which allow students with different races to work together. The fourth question is related to the second one, and as expected, all 26 accepted responses are yes. This is because participating in those mentioned activities are compulsory for Malaysian students as proposed in the Malaysia Education Blueprint. Apart from that, since these respondents attended multiracial high schools, they somehow will definitely work with students from other races, and this one particular findings or this one particular question is an evidence for that. The last question for Part B is, I participate actively in co-curricular activities, where we want to know whether the respondents participate actively or passively in co-curricular activities. Out of 26 respondents, 23 participate actively, meanwhile 3 participate passively. Those who are active are most probably interested in the activities, and high chances they are elected as the high committees of the clubs, uniform bodies, or sports they have joined in. Those 3 respondents who are passive probably join as it is compulsory for all as well as for attendance marks, hence the findings shown. All in all, we can assume that majority of the respondents have a rather well understanding of racism and co-curricular activities since they are from multiracial Malaysian secondary schools. I guess that's all for the findings of Part B. I'll pass the floor to the next presenter. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and good day I bid to the audience. My name is Aina Zira and these are the findings for Part C, which is to find out the reasons of racism. So we asked our respondents to assess from their perspective which of these factors are more likely to contribute to racism in school. These opinions are measured in scales as there are many spectrums and dimensions of racism. First, let's look at racial bias. Compared to other factors, covert racism such as racial bias is harder to pinpoint, while the opinions about these issues is slightly polarized, with 23% think that racial bias is less likely to result in racism. 69.2% think otherwise. Next is discrimination and prejudice. Research have explained that some of the most damaging forms of discrimination are linked with deep-seated ethnocentric behavior where they undervalue other races that are different from them. Although quite a number of opinions decided to settle on neutral, 61.5% think that discrimination and prejudice is likely the reason of racism. Being the highest percentage with over 18% respondent think that systemic racism is most likely the reason why racism happens in school and consequently being brought into the co-curriculum activities. Currently, there are no comprehensive research done in a local context regarding systemic racism, as Aminuddin 2020 clarified. This is due to their sensitive nature, possibly becoming political ammunition, and individuals being accused of rebellious intent. While some stereotypes can be harmless, media portrayals can accelerate the ones that are harmful. Accumulative choices of 16 out of 26 respondents, or 61.5%, believe that media portrayals and stereotypes also played a role in racist behavior in school. There are numerous research that agree media does influence our view on racism. By a wide margin of difference, it is apparent here that majority of our respondents believe that racism in school is a byproduct of social dominance. Social dominance of one race is a known reason for a lesser participation for minorities in a society, and is evident in a lot of research. Despite being a country known as a melting pot of culture, it is evident here that 77% of the respondents consider insufficient knowledge and unfamiliarity with other races as a part of the reason why racism occurs. This is the visual representation comparing the reasons that have been presented before, with the likeliness percentage increased as we go up. Systemic racism is most likely the reason, and in the order as we go down: social dominance, same as insufficient knowledge and unfamiliarity of other races, then racial bias, discrimination and prejudice, and also media portrayals and stereotypes. Thank you for listening. This is the end of part C. Moving on to the next part.
My name is Raja Azam bin Raja Yusuf, and I will be presenting the last part of this presentation, which is part D, effects of co-curricular activities on racism. In this part, there are 6 questions that we asked our respondent, which are: number 1, are they comfortable working with other people from different races? Number 2, are they comfortable working with people from the same background? Number 3, are they able to communicate with and work together with people from other races? Number 4, are they able to gain new knowledge through interacting with other races? Number 5, do they enjoy working with other races during co-curricular activities? And finally, number 6, participating in co-curricular activities has changed their opinion on other races. Those are the 6 questions that we asked to our respondents in this part. For the first question, we asked the respondents, do they feel comfortable working with other people from different races? From the 26 responses, we can see there's 5 that disagree and 2 strongly disagree, showing that they felt uncomfortable working with other people from different races. This does not immediately show that they are being racist. It could be because they are comfortable working with other people from different races because of language barrier, difference in manners, difference in attitude. On the other hand, we can see 6 response in agree and 11 in strongly agree, showing that they felt very comfortable working with other people from different races. This could be because they want to learn they want to broaden their language, want to make new friends. There's also 2 responses showing neutral, meaning that they don't have any opinion working with other people from different races. They don't mind. For question number 2, we asked if they were more comfortable working with people from the same background. We can see that 6 responses agreed and 10 strongly agree they are comfortable working with people from the same background. Maybe because since they came from the same background, they can interact easily. However, we can see 2 responses in disagree and 1 in strongly disagree. Although this is minor, there's still some people that are not comfortable working with those that came from the same background with them. Maybe because they want to learn to mingle with other people from different background. We can also see the 7 responses in neutral, meaning they don't have much opinion in this. They doesn't care much about working with people from the same background or different background than them. For question number 3, we ask if they able to communicate and work together with people from other races. We can see that there aren't that many respondents that are not able to work together with people from other races and not able to communicate. There's only 2 responses in disagree and 1 in strongly disagree. This may be because of the difference in manners and the language barrier. However, we can see there's 11 responses in agree and 9 in strongly agree, showing that there are many people able to communicate and work together with people from other races. We can also see there's 3 responses in neutral, meaning maybe they can communicate but not work together with people from other races or vice versa. For question number 4, we asked our respondent if they're able to gain a lot of new knowledge through interacting with other races. Here, we can see that there's 10 responses in agree and 12 in strongly agree, showing that they do gain a lot of new knowledge through interacting with other races. It could be knowledge in language or culture, so on and so forth. We can also see there's 4 responses in neutral, meaning that they don't gain many knowledge through interacting with other races. It could be because they didn't interact with diverse races, meaning they just interact with one race or just 2 races instead of like others that are in the same school with them. For question number 5, we asked if they enjoy working with other races during co-curricular activities. We can see 8 responses in agree and 11 in strongly agree, showing that they agree that they enjoy working with other races during co-curricular activities. This may be because since working with other races may inspire this sense of fellowship and sportsmanship, making them push harder, play, and work together better. However, we can still see there's 1 response in disagree and also 1 response in strongly disagree. Maybe because they have bad history with other races in their school, showing that they do not enjoy working with other races through co-curricular activities. We can also see these 5 responses in neutral, meaning that they don't have any opinion in whether they enjoy or not working with other races. They don't feel anything. For them, maybe it's just a co-curricular activity. That's it. For the final question, question number 6, we ask our respondents when they participate in co-curricular activities have changed their opinion on other races. We can see there's 8 responses in agree and 11 in strongly agree, showing that it shows that they acknowledge that participating in co-curricular activity have changed their opinion in other races. Maybe because before they participate in co-curricular activity with that race, they have a little bit of prejudice or a little bit of stereotype on them, because Chinese only know how to play basketball. But when there's a Chinese in a track team, oh, he's also good in running. But we can also, however, we can see that there's 4 responses, 2 in disagree and 2 in strongly disagree. But it tells us that it does not change their opinion on other races when participating in co-coding activities. This may be because of many races just stay in that stereotype club. For example, Chinese just go to basketball or taekwondo. Malay just go for silat. That's it. Maybe that's what happened during that time in school. So it didn't change their opinion. There's also three responses in neutral. Maybe because there's a little bit of mix here and there. There's still stereotype in this race for this club, but there's also some that mix with other races. So, but for them, it's doesn't change any of their opinion at all.
In conclusion, based on the data that we have collected, we found that people are aware that racism does happen in co-curricular activity, and there are many reasons that causes it to happen, like the judgment and stereotype of certain races to other races. The portrayal of media about certain races also plays a part in the racism. However, we also found that after working with each other, people tend to get along even if they come from different races. And so we have managed to answer the racist question for our case study. That's it for our presentation. Thank you.